everyone. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Nurul Kudosna Musa and my group member is Nur Najah binti Rohas Hakimi, Nur Natasha binti Razali, Nur Syurtatul Husna binti Abu Bakar, and lastly, Nur Syamimi Akilah binti Zulkifli. Thailand is known as the land of white elephants for a reason. The white elephant has special value in Buddha's past since it symbolizes fertility and knowledge. As a result, the royal Thai white elephants used to reside in Bangkok's Chitralada Palace, but now they are housed at the Thai Elephant Conservation Center in Lampang, northern Thailand, where they are rarely seen by the general public. Then, let's go on to this educational film about Thailand.
Thailand was previously known as Siam until 1939, according to a zip from the book History of Each Country Around the World 2018. Meanwhile, Thailand is also the only such ancient country that is not colonized by Europeans, and one of the reasons is because Thailand do not have a fetish lands of other such as ancient country. This means other countries are interested in making Thailand their colony and assume that there are no crops that can be utilized by them. In addition, Thailand is also one of the Southeast Asian countries involved in the formation of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Well, at the time, every minister from Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Philippines, and Thailand signed the ASEAN Declaration in Bangkok on 8th August 1987.
Generally, almost all countries in Southeast Asia have been colonized by foreign powers. Nevertheless, Thailand made history because it was never colonized by any foreign power. Referring to the history, Thailand is not a country that does not have any wealth, but has a World Trade Center. It can be seen through the existence of the Chao Phraya River, which is very important for Thailand in the past. Our Siamese kingdoms such as Ayutthaya, Thonburi, and Rattanakosin were near the river despite several evacuations as a result of wars and wars. When Western powers arrived, the rulers at that time, namely King Mongkut and King Chulalongkorn, had used various methods to defend their country. Among the steps taken was to westernize their own country, appointment of active Western advisors to head various departments as well as to train the local officers. This was followed by the introduction of the Lower Advisory Council and the Supreme Council, which were the king's advisory body in the administration. It also established relations with several European powers such as Britain and France to ensure the security of their country. Despite successfully surviving, it had to surrender some territories as a result of external power dispute.
Without further ado, let's talk about how politics works in Thailand. We all know that Thailand is a constitutional monarchy, which means that the Prime Minister is in charge of the government and a hereditary monarch is in the charge of the country. Thailand's current Prime Minister is Prayut Chan-o-cha and the current head of state is His Majesty King Maha Vajiralongkorn. After that, the government was run by the National Council for Peace and Order (NCPO) from May 2020 2014 to July 10, 2019. On May 20, 2014, the military declared martial law all over the country in an effort to stop all the political crises from getting worse and to get rid of the democratically elected government. Following that, 77 political parties campaigned for office. Among them are the Pheu Thai majority and the Democrat Party, the opposition. Thailand's parliament is currently represented by the Pheu Thai Party led by Chonlanan Srikao, the Move Forward Party led by Pita Limjaroenrat, the Thai Liberal Party led by Sripisut Temiavet, and others.
The economic growth rate in Thailand is estimated at 3.9% in 2017. There are various factors in economic growth for Thailand. The Thai economy is dependent on export, which account for 16% of GDP. In addition, there are also about 16% of the Thai labor force working in agriculture sector, and the rice is the most important crop. This is because Thailand is a major importer in the world rice market. There are also other agriculture commodities such as tapioca, rubber, and other. In addition, industry with fast growing production includes computer and electronic and high-tech products such as integrated circuits and electronic components and electronic things are driving Thailand export growth. In November 2021, Thailand had recovered an economy affected by the COVID-19 pandemic through a recovery of momentum in the last quarter supported by increased export and the reopening of the country border. This strengthens the country recovery from inflationary risk. In addition, Thailand also took an initiative not to raise interest rate until the economy fully recovered.
One of the Southeast Asian countries that has a culture inherited from their ancestors is Thailand country. Social and culture plays important roles in Thailand country as well. The current population in Thailand is 70,134,279 people. This is the actual number that was taken from the Worldometer according to latest United Nations data on 2nd June 2022. Talking about Thailand community, Thailand population can be divided into several ethnic groups, namely Thai, Chinese, Malay, Khmer, Hmong, Karen, and others. The Thai or Siamese tribe is the largest ethnic group in Thailand. They form part of the Thai ethnologistic people found in Southeast Asia. When it comes to the languages, Thai people have lots of languages speak. Official language of Thailand is Thai, or also called Siamese. Official Thai language is widely spoken by Thailand residents, especially by Central Thai. There are also other languages that commonly used in Thailand, such as Austronesian, Hmong-Mien, Mon-Khmer, and Sino-Tibetan. In the term of religion, majority of the Thai population practices Theravada Buddhism. This religion are civilized as the Thailand's national religion. There are also other minority religions practiced in Thailand such as Islam, Christian, Hindu, and etc. Buddhism in Thailand is heavily influenced by belief from Hinduism, animism, and also traditional belief about ancestral spirits and natural spirits.
These anti-government protests have continued throughout the beginning of 2020 until 2021, where there were thousands of democracy protests in Thailand at that time. The protests were due to protests against the government led by Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, as well as protests to demand reforms in the monarchical system in Thailand. Among one of the issues was where the people feel angry with the incompetent and failure of the government in addressing the issue of COVID-19, which was increasingly unstoppable at the time. In addition, in the protest to demand reform in the monarchical system is fought by most university students who want to strengthen the power of immunity in the law from being enjoyed by the king and abolish the law of lèse majesty. Therefore, in this protest, there are many reforms and goals that those involved want to fight for their rights as citizens, as well as the well-being of the country for their future.
Thailand is insecure in securities. We all know terrorism hurts the economy. Property and people destruction is an example. Insurgents targeted residents in Thailand's south. Patani, Yala, and Narathiwat have witnessed unmatched brutality. PRN representatives have been silent on rebel abuses and violation of international humanitarian law that have murdered and injured Thai, Buddhist, and Malay Muslims. Second, Thailand's border issues threaten security. The violent border clashes between Thailand and Cambodia in 2011 forced agents to take action, yet the situation remained unresolved. In 2008, Thailand and Cambodia ended things. Cambodia's attempt to add Preah Vihear temple on UNESCO list caused this. Thailand government opposed this move since Cambodia omitted it. Then Cambodia won Preah Vihear. The International Court of Justice (ICJ) ordered Thai military to leave Preah Vihear on November 11, 2013.
The economic growth rate in Thailand is estimated at 3.9% in 2017. There are various factors in economic growth for Thailand. The Thai economy is dependent on export, which account for 16% of GDP. In addition, there are also about 16% of the Thai labor force working in agriculture sector, and the rice is the most important crop. This is because Thailand is a major importer in the world rice market. There are also other agriculture commodities such as tapioca, rubbers, and other. In addition, industry with fast growing production includes computer and electronic and high-tech products such as integrated circuits and electronic components and electronic things are driving Thailand export ground. In November 2021, Thailand had recovered an economy affected by the COVID-19 pandemic through a recovery of momentum in the last quarter supported by increased export and the reopening of the country border. This strengthens the country recovery from inflationary rate. In addition, Thailand also took an initiative not to raise interest rate until the economy fully recovered.
COVID-19 pandemic brings new obstacles to the realization of social rights of migrants and refugees in Thailand. Discriminatory practices, lack of access to adequate housing, food and safe drinking water and poor health conditions in detention centers are just some of the many human rights deprivation faced by migrants and refugees in Thailand amidst the continuing COVID-19 pandemic. Under Article 2 of the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights ICESCR state that which all members of ICESCR must respect, protect and fulfill economic, social and cultural rights by all people in the country without discrimination, including discrimination against non-citizens on the grounds of nationality. The right in the ICESCR apply to everyone including migrant workers, refugees and asylum seekers regardless to legal status and documentation. So Thailand must follow the rule because Thailand also among one of the ICESCR members.
In conclusion, Thailand has a national background that has its own unique to be explored in terms of history, political system, economy and social. In addition, every country, not least Thailand, also has shortcomings which involve various domestic issues that occur in the country such as in terms of politics, economy, security and social. As can be seen, this issue is mostly affected by COVID-19 which has hit the whole country as well as related issues in southern Thailand which have always been in conflict until now. So, Thailand is a country that is now developing, where Thailand is also a great country in Southeast Asia with a great history, economy and culture. In addition, Thailand, like other countries, has its own advantage and disadvantage.